Continental too, you're definitely you're probably just screwing up your win rate. There's nothing GTO is going to help with these stakes. These players are not thinking about anything. They're bad players. That's why I'm just going to three bet this guy with my kings. He'll call. As long as the ace doesn't come and he's got anything at all, I'll stack him. So I'm not GTOing my bet sizes or anything. I've got kings. I make a big raise. I get it in versus a bad player. Pretty much that simple. She's kind of a strange player because he's 19-2. This is on the loose side for regs. But of course the gap between the two is enormous. This is a spot, again, I'm not getting tricky. I'm just going to make a bet. I don't need to make an enormous bet, of course. I'm going to bet just half pot in this spot just because we have the deck completely crushed. But checking behind here is ridiculous because they don't fold anything. As you see, he's more than willing to check raise me when I've got the absolute nuts. I don't know what he can have, but... And again, I'm not going to screw around, get stupid, just throw the rest of his 30 cents in there and be done with it. And let him call off whatever the heck he has. So, yeah, I coolered the guy, but, I wouldn't always be calling, I wouldn't be getting in that spot in the first place because a lot of times I'd just fold my ace-king pre-flop if some tight guy... if I'm out of position and, most of the regs at these stakes 3-bet me. Of course, it's nice to have... I play a lot more hands. It's nice to have a looser image so you can get away with stuff like that. But these regs just don't fold to 3-bets in these. And so it's a perfect example of just playing your hand straightforward and getting all the money in. So I'm going to 3-bet this guy in this spot. He's actually looks like to be a very good reg, which is very strange for these stakes. Make it a little bit more because I'm out of position, of course. Make it close to 4 times. I don't like calling in this spot. I'd rather just 3-bet, try to take it down. I don't think you're going to get 4-bet light very often in these stakes. He's has good stats. Looking at him, he's quite aggressive. Plays a good amount of hands. I don't think I've ever played a hand against the guy, so I don't expect to get screwed with very often there. And I'd rather just, as I talked about in the first video, just 3-bet for the most part when I'm playing a hand from the blinds, and the raise comes from later position. Interesting spot here. I got top pair. I'm just gonna, I don't know. Oh, we've got a super net in the pot actually. Didn't see that. It's always interesting when you get a guy that tight. Huh. That's a cool card there. This is a really bad player. I think there's a chance that he probably doesn't fold anything. I'm going to make a slight overbet here, just hoping to make him flip out. Or I think he's just going to call with most of his draws. So, that sucks. I guess I could have made a standard size bet there as well, but it's a spot where the stacks are a little bit deeper, and I'd really like to set up a river shove, hopefully a little bit easier. Definitely not going to call with a hand like 8-10 like this. I don't like calling pre-flop, period, unless I have pretty much pocket pair for the most part of these stakes. And I don't want to 3-bet in this spot either, so it's just a fold. I would isolate with a wide range here, but this guy is just so little left in his stack that I'm going to have to fold with a hand that's only 6 high, because it's just going to be difficult. He's going to want to get it in a lot post-flop, and it's going to be difficult for me to ever have too much of anything with when I just have 6 high. I'm not going to get silly on a board like that once again. With the 10s there, I'm just going to make a c-bet. Should just be making c-bets at these stakes literally against one person, literally almost 100% of the time. 2/3 pot is the way to go. So you're going to get folds so often. It's another way people will get too tricky trying to do silly stuff. Saw it with the king's hand. I'm not going to check behind when I got top set there. I'm just going to make the bet because I know that, yeah, I happen to have him cooler to death there, but he's not going to fold queens there. He's not going to fold. He's got anything. Just remember, they don't fold to anything at these stakes. So slow playing and trying to get tricky against them is one of the worst things you can do. I mean, you can definitely, you can change up your bet sizes and stuff like that. We can see that in a couple spots. Remember in the first video, I bet something like 40% or even as little as a third of the pot. In one spot, and it was simply because I thought that the player that I was playing against, this is on the river, that he had a very, very weak hand that could probably only call that amount. So, so it's okay. I'm just watching this hand on table 2. Oh, they both got aces. Wow. So just, yeah, I mean, the point is to just bet, though, is not to, get something in the pot. So I bet half pot there with the kings, top set. So you can, just bet something is the point when you have a big hand. Don't ever get silly, and a lot of newer players think that you have to slow play big hands. It's the worst thing you can do at these stakes, at NL2 especially. It's the exact opposite of what you should be doing. If you like money, that is. So, I mean, we didn't really even have to table select a whole lot at all. I mean, I didn't. I generally don't in videos anyways, but I've definitely still got I've got 3 fish, 2 fish, and 1 here. So usually a good enough table is just 1, as far as I'm concerned. At higher stakes, anyways. I'll do the same thing I opened this video with. I'll open an 8-8, ace-8 under the gun, just because there's a really bad player that I'll have position on. In the big blind. But yeah, I would say that, this is Crushing the Micro Stakes 2014. I would say that if you don't have 2 players at your table that are approaching 50% VPIP, it's probably you can find a better table somewhere. So you should have probably 2 whales on your table. Once again, I don't think I'm actually playing at a very good time right now. It's 1 o'clock in Asia. It's about 11 o'clock at night on the Pacific. Which would make it like 2 in the morning on the East Coast. Everyone's asleep there in America, Canada. So it's not exactly like I'm playing like prime time on a Saturday night here, and there's still huge whales on every single table. I definitely want to just get some money in this pot, just considering I have the nut flush draw. I think I'll get called a lot, but it allows me to barrel if I get lucky enough to hit it on the turn, which I don't, and really get a big pot going. And for him to probably not believe that I actually have the flush. I'm not going to barrel here. I think that's a mistake. I think this player's got a king or a 9 or something that he's probably not going to be willing to get rid of. Obviously, our equity is down a lot on the turn with only 1 card to come. And once again, we're not going to be bluffing anything on the river. Even a 9 he has there, so. So I think I'm just going to sit out in this table here because I don't want just 1 table, and I'll just bring up some of the stats for our session here. What do we have? So we managed to maintain our 80 plus big blinds per 100. Or wait a minute, that's all in adjusted. Do we have the? Oh, okay. Oh, we ran bad. Yeah, we were only winning at 63. We should have been winning at 81. Can't believe it. So as you can see, I tried to play a little bit, keep it within reason, not be getting too out of line like I have in previous videos. 18, 16. Newer players watching this video, you don't have to play that many hands in a full ring game, but and especially if you're playing a lot of tables at once. Like if I'm playing 16 or 24 tables, I don't have time to play 18% of hands. So. Especially at higher limits where you got to think a lot more in spots. 3-bet, 5.5 or something. It's pretty typical, I'd say, for me probably. Rest of the stats are probably not going to be all that useful, just considering that the sample's so small. Really, the point of these videos is to Just show you, sort of the process of playing more than anything, rather than, I mean, we're never going to get a decent sample size, of course, over these stakes, but I don't know if I've ever had a losing session at L2 making videos for Drag the Bar, because the games are just so ridiculous. They still are here in 2014. And the last thing I want to point out here is, you notice, I've got a couple of my big hands where, I win, I go for the jugular, as I talk about, maybe I coolered somebody, but then again, he's the one in there calling on out of position, oversized 3-bets with ace king, which is something that if the roles were reversed there, I would probably fold pre-flop, to be honest. So, is it a cooler? That's up for debate a little bit. But in general, you'll see the contrast here. I'm not losing any really big pots. When the money goes in, I have it, which is the only way to win at these stakes. The only pot of any substance that I lost that was sort of big at all was half a stack with jacks, and I got it in versus ace queen pre-flop as a slight favorite, just not winning the flip. And you'll see the amount of pots here that are, I was getting it in with the best hand. I've got, I'm not screwing around. I'm not trying to bluff them. And you can see that I'm not getting the money in. Oops. With marginal hands. I'm not playing big hands with marginal hands. But I've talked about that enough in this video and in the previous one, especially in this video. I'm going to end it here. Leave me any comments that you guys have in the threads for these videos. In the next session, I think I'm going to just go play some 6-max NL2, or maybe some Zoom or something like that, just to keep it, different variations. And